Kerfing Plane is a really interesting tool that has recently become more and more popular. Its history goes back a long way, from a step saw to putting a fence on a step saw to a bunch of different variations in that, and it's been mentioned in books for a long time. But the idea of a kerfing plane is something that's a little more recent. Tom Ferngren has made it really popular with the modern hand tool woodworker, and his style and pattern is really kind of impressive and has a lot of new things that haven't been seen before. And I made one. He has a kit with Bad Axe tool, and I made one for a friend a while ago, and I really enjoyed it. It was a great plane, an 8-point tooth, very similar to this one. But it just had a few things that it wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't quite fitting what I did. And then BlackBurn Tools came out with a kit, or at least I found it recently, and I am in love with the design on it. The big thing is then he sharpens it. He puts a deep gullet in between each of the teeth, very similar to how you would find in a large crosscut saw. And that gives a place for the sawdust to go. Because when you're cutting over a long board, all that sawdust has to go somewhere. And it's either going to impact beside the blade, making it harder to push the blade through, or it's going to pile up in front of the blade, lifting the blade out of the work, and so therefore it's no longer doing it. With these deep gullets, that's a lot better. And there's just a bunch of other things. His fence guide system is just really well thought through, and I'm looking forward to making this. So come along with me and I'll show you how to make this kerfing saw. This kerfing saw is made from sapele and white oak. I actually got this scrap from the per pound bin at Woodcraft. Making the cuts is something I actually rather enjoy. It takes a little bit of time, but I like to make a nice, clean, accurate cut. Making the piece to size. I'm actually cutting the length of it and then ripping down 2 boards to give me the main body and the fence. Gluing on a piece of white oak to bring it to the appropriate thickness, and giving it a little bit of look. The white oak will wear better than the sapele will as it rubs against wood, and I like the look of it too. So half of it I clamped in the vise, and the other half I clamped with C-clamps. After bringing it out of the clamp, it is fairly easy to square everything up and bring it to the appropriate shape. Now we need to cut out the rabbit for the fence, and normally I don't make this stop cut wall for rip cuts, but in this case I wanted a trough for the saw to run in to give it a nice clean cut. So cutting out the rabbit from one side from the other, and that basically completes the shape of the fence. Now I need to cut a kerf for the blade to go in for the main part of the plane. And this saw happened to have a kerf that was almost exactly the same width as the steel in the saw plate. Once I have the kerf in place, then I can mark where the holes need to be precisely. With this particular kit, I only needed to mark the 2 middle holes, as the fence rails will actually hold it together as opposed to having regular nut and bolt. This is probably the most nerve-wracking part. These holes need to be perfectly placed, perfectly 90 degrees to the surface. I ended up using a board that had a perfect 90-degree hole put into it, and then use that as a guide for making the next hole. So I can clamp the actual piece underneath this board to make the holes that I need to make. And I found that to actually work very well to give me a very accurate and precise spot. Once I have all the holes made for this kit, I can start installing the hardware. And this is the fun part, where it really starts to come together and you get to see some things. After making sure it all fits, I can start shaping the body. For most of the shaping work, I start with a chisel and give it the rough shape I need. I'm feeling as I'm going, making sure everything is the right shape and the way I want to grab it, and feels good in my hand. And then it's a whole process of rasp and file, and then finer file and finer file, until you can basically file away any mark and make a nice, clean, smooth surface. I actually do end the work with a file. I don't use sandpaper. I really like the look it gives the wood. It's a little more rustic, I think. But I like the feel of it. It's a little slower, but worth it. Now for the carving work, which I've started doing on most all of my hand tools. I put the Celtic Trinity on one side and then this weave on the other side. I like the look of it, and this is becoming one of my favorite parts of the build. Boiled linseed oil then suddenly makes the grain pop, and wow, I love it. The look of this is fantastic, especially with the other side where I have white oak and sapele. It just looks good, and I like the finish. After that, I'll give it a paste wax and give it that nice shine. Just before putting on the paste wax, though, I'll brand it. I like to brand it after putting on the boiled linseed oil. Just seems to have a better feel for it. Then it's putting it all together. The hardware kit just fits together perfectly as long as you put the holes in the right place. It is an amazing kit and runs smoothly. Now time for a test drive. I love the teeth on this saw. They are just so fast and clean. Very, very well done. They bite and remove a lot of material very quickly. Really nice clean track all the way down. This is a plane that I am now in love with. A really, really good addition to the shop, and I'm looking forward to a lot of projects coming up with this. There's my new kerfing plane. BlackBurn Tools has really outdone themselves in this kit. I am just flabbergasted on how this all came together and how tightly it fits. His directions and plans are absolutely fantastic. But I have to say, the one big thing over the other kits I've used is this tooth pattern. It is very aggressive with the deep gullets. It cuts like butter. I have been overjoyed in how well it worked. Very, very fast, very efficient. It allowed me to get all the dust that it's creating up and out, and I love it. That's fantastic. So this is definitely something you're going to see me using a lot more, especially with several of the projects I have coming up. I'm going to be doing a lot of resawing, and this will become very useful. I'm still hanging on to this one because this one is just quick and easy to grab for a specific 1/4 inch cut. Though it's a lot slower, so if I'm doing anything of any sizable piece, I'm going to be grabbing this one. Although this one will probably end up being set at about a 1/4 inch for most cuts. The other nice thing about having the movable fence is I can make rabbits or rebates wherever you're from. And that way you can cut a specific distance in from one side and then go from the other side of the board and cut in a specific distance and make a rebate along the corner of a board. And that's something I'm going to be trying out a few times here. This is made of sapele and white oak. I wanted the white oak for the slide. I wasn't able to get a wide enough piece of sapele, and rather than tying the two together, I really like the idea of having the two woods next to each other, and the look of it is fantastic. I'm in love with that look. I'm gonna have to do something like that in the future. But the grain and the feel of the sapele is really something special for me. So that's my new kerfing saw. So if you want to find out more about BlackBurn Tools and their kit, I'll leave a link below. I'm also going to be doing a video about the Rebate style frame saw. If it's up, you'll see a link right here. And I'm hoping to get that up here soon. This will be a really great kit to have the resaw frame saw and then the kerfing saw running together. I'm really looking forward to that. So go check out BlackBurn Tools. He does some amazing work with saws and other things to go along with saws. I'm actually blown away at his quality. and I'm going to be getting more things from him in the future. So I know a lot of people are going to ask, why did you go with this style body? Most kerfing planes have a saw handle and a little bit different grip on the front, and honestly I don't as much care for that. I made it in my last one. The problem is the saw handle then is a little higher away from the blade, and you tend to have a downward pushing force on the front, and that's just not what I really like. I like having my hand lower and behind the plane, pushing into it. I just like the smoother grip. It feels good to me. That's not to say this is the way to do it. This is just the way I like to do it, and you'll see a lot of my planes just have this smooth back that fit my palm nicely. So that's why I'm not doing it with a saw grip. This is designed for me and not for everyone else. But if you want it with a saw kit, a saw handle kit, then BlackBurn Tools has a diagram for that. They actually have a diagram for all sorts of different saw handles. So if you're interested in that and making your own saw handles, go check them out. Really cool list. So that's about it for today. I hope you like this. I had a lot of fun with this project. If you have any questions or comments or ideas of how I could do it better, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And if you like the video, go ahead and hit the like button, or possibly even subscribe. Feel free to check out one of my other videos. You might find something you like. And until next time, have a wonderful day.